Hey, everybody. It is Eric J. Olson for our second of our doubleheader today, recording the Managing Partners podcast live on social media. So the Managing Partners podcast is where we interview the managing partners of America's top law firms. We ask them how they're filling their case pipeline and what they're doing to get and nurture new clients. And today I am joined by Sean Méndez-Catlin. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing? Glad to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us. Let me tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and then I've got a series of questions to ask you. So Sean is a managing partner of MC&J Law in Orlando. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. An experienced president with a demonstrated history of working in the law practice industry, skilled in Westlaw, legal research, legal document preparation, public speaking, and legal writing. Please welcome Sean as our next guest on the Managing Partners podcast. Well, thanks for joining us, Sean.
Yes, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, man. Well, tell us a little bit about your law firm and what you guys do.
Definitely. So, as you said, it was MC&J Law, PLLC, located in Orlando, Florida. We focus on two primary areas of law. My law partner, Sabrina, focuses on criminal defense, and I focus on business and intellectual property with a more refined focus on video games, esports, and content creators. Both myself and my law partner were prosecutors in Orlando for a number of years before we opened up our own firm just almost 3 years ago. So we're over the first two humps, got to make it to 5 years, but 3 years with the business. Thank you. And I've been practicing for, almost 6 years now, going on 7. For my law partner and 5 years going on 6 for me. And just glad to be here.
That is really cool. So I commented to Sean before we went live about the headset, about the chair. Those are very distinguishable gaming tools, the chair and the headset. Are you a gamer? Is that how you kind of got into that niche?
Yeah, I've been a gamer. I can age myself a little bit here. N64 was the first system. My mom wouldn't let me get one before that. But I guess first gaming system I was playing on was a Super Nintendo. And started playing games from then and kind of grew into it after being at the prosecutors for a while. It was a lot of red tape, very political, and wanted to do something different, and spoke with an attorney who was focusing on this. And he let me know that it was something that I could do where my firm focused on it. And my mom had let me know that I played a lot of games, so I should probably make some money from doing it.
That's right. Hey, put those skills to use, right?
Exactly.
That's funny. That's cool. I mean, certainly esports, gaming, really big these days, huge industry. I believe the last stat that I saw was that it's bigger than actual Hollywood movies at this point. And there's literally an epic battle happening in the courts right now between Epic and Apple about the fees that Apple charges these gamers, which is incredible. Are you representing either one of those sides in that case?
I am not. I know some people that are, but I am not. I'm not personally doing any of it, so I can definitely talk about it. It's definitely a growing market. It's in its infancy in the legal world, so a lot of this stuff, the Apple stuff is happening now because there really hasn't been a lot of court battles. The video game industry, for the most part, has been self-regulatory. The biggest case back in the day was the Grand Theft Auto case, which is why we have the rating system we do now. But other than that, there really hasn't been a lot of major litigation in the realm. But now that the realm is, multiple billion-dollar industry at this point, and as you said, it is rivaling actual Hollywood movies, both in terms of the revenues that are coming in, but also what's being spent on these games, right? An average AAA game, you're looking at least $50 to $60 million, and some of them is even more than that. So there's definitely a lot of space there, and independent developers are the main makers of games, of course, but like the movie industry, a lot of the funds are really controlled by Microsoft, Sony, and to an extent, there's another company, Activision Blizzard, which is having a lawsuit right now as well. Those are some of the major companies that are controlling things. But as the market has developed, there is more of a legal need now because there are more independent game developers with the advent of mobile phones that can play games and computers and other things that everybody has. And with COVID and a lot of people being at home and kind of stuck, there's been this boom in gaming and in making games. And so a lot of these companies that wouldn't have had as many people playing their games are all of a sudden facing a lot of legal challenges. And so there's definitely more of a need for attorneys in the industry now.
I think it's a great place to be. A huge emerged industry, and tons and tons of money there. So that's going to create a lot of problems and need for people like you. So congratulations on identifying that great niche and getting into it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been an interesting ride.
Cool. So we're a digital marketing agency here. And so we always like to ask about how you go about, growing from marketing or advertising, getting clients, what you do to nurture them. So, one of the things I wanted to ask you is how do you go about getting new clients?
It is as you said, it's kind of a niche industry. So a lot of it is going to come from networking. I think that for the most part, the vast majority of my clients are people that I've either met in person or that have introduced me to other people just because, they know me. That is going to be the mainstay. And so for me, a large part of our marketing budget and our marketing strategy is going to conferences and going to other in-person events when it was in person. Now virtual events and doing those type of gigs. And tied to that is also speaking engagements. So trying to get your name out there, get your voice out there, letting people know that you're in the industry. It is very much, like I said, it's a small market as well at the moment. Most independent developers are kind of bootstrapping things. So there is a level of investment that you have to do with them. But because of that, building those relationships is the mainstay of what we're trying to do.
Right on. Yeah. Certainly relationship networking and just referrals, all great ways of getting new business, high quality business as well. During things like COVID, though, makes it a little difficult sometimes to network, at least in the real world. Maybe in the gaming industry, it's a little bit different. With the acceptance of virtual networking. I think for most of the business world, it's a little difficult right now, unless you actually are one of the forerunners and start going to conferences now early on. Even though this Delta variant is probably going to hamper the in-person ability for a little while still, but it's coming back one day.
Yeah, one day we'll be there. I think that COVID, it was a very weird moment for us because, as I said, my law partner does criminal law, so that kind of dried up. There wasn't as much going on. The courts have kind of grind to a halt. But because games are very electronic, they kind of blew up. And a lot of the people who were having to spend their nights and weekends working on their games all of a sudden were at home and had more of an ability to focus on it. So I saw a lot of my business clients in that kind of take that time to focus in on their game company rather than their normal 9 to 5. And so that kind of picked up with the business. And then thankfully, because gaming is a very easily remote access type of situation, there wasn't as big of a shift because a lot of these people were working remotely anyway. In regards to conferences and things like that, it was a lot easier for them to say, okay, let's just do this remote. We have the infrastructure to be able to set this up already. So let's just, transition that.
It was natural. Yeah. So cool. What are your growth plans for the next, say, 2 to 5 years?
For us, where I'd like to see us go is really to grow in the industry, right? So we've been doing it for about 2.5 years where we've been focusing heavy on it. And of course, 1 year of that with COVID was a little bit slower. So we're happy with the progress we've made, but we want to, get our name out there more. become more of a well-known firm in the industry, which will hopefully allow us to grow and preferably get a couple of associates, be able to hire on more staff, create more jobs in the industry, and maybe be doing some international deals as well.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, that raised it to a whole new level, going international.
Yeah, and it thankfully there's even independent developers. There's a lot of international work going on. It is very much a hope that some of the clients you pick up, especially with the indies, that they end up blowing up, and that their game gets big, because at that point then you're going to be doing deals with larger companies, the Microsofts, the Apples, the Epics, the Sonys. So hopefully being able to do more with that, and really just meeting people and getting those relationships going, where if we have something going on with Microsoft or we have something going on with Epic, you have that in where you can just go, hey, I'll just call this person and I'll be able to at least get your foot in the door.
Yeah. So you mentioned before a lot of like in-person networking, or even virtual these days, but networking and meeting people. Is there something that you have found is a good technique for making your law firm memorable? Because I'm sure they bump into a bunch of people, and what makes you stand out to your ideal prospect?
For me, I think that we focus heavily on trying to ensure that I'm not really going for clients, right? I don't go to these events looking for clients. I feel like if you go to an event looking for a client, you're going to leave with nothing. I am very much a proponent of showing them that we want to be in the industry and that we care about where the industry is going. It's not necessarily about me having to represent them. It's more about an actual friendship or relationship that's being built there. I think they will see that with some smaller firms, but as you get to the larger firms, there really is that kind of profit loss margin basis in terms of what they're doing. So, the little things that you see. So the big firms are going to come in, and the second someone starts talking, they're hitting their stopwatch, they're doing things because they're looking at billable hours, whereas we really are focused in on the industry.
Yeah, that's great. Good point. Yeah. A lot of lawyers that I speak with, they bill by the 10th of an hour, right? That's the standard.
Yeah, exactly. And so you see it, and it comes across, and the industry itself, as you can see with the polos and things like that, it's not really a suit and tie industry. And knowing the audience and knowing that you're doing that really does help you stand out. So if you are an attorney trying to get into this field and you show up to a game development conference wearing a suit, you're less likely to get people to even really speak with you as much, just because it's not something they're used to seeing. It is definitely a more casual group of people. Now, at the same time, when we have our website, we have other things, we at least show them I can clean up enough to be able to do what I need to do in court or do whatever's going on. But just letting them know that you understand their industry and what's going on definitely helps. Yeah, knowing the culture. I've found being a gamer, I'm able to discuss things that aren't law related at all, right? So if they're talking about a fighting game or a new character in it, I know about it, or I've played it, or I know what they're speaking about. So when they are talking to me or asking me questions about things, they really don't have to explain as much, right? So if they ask me, hey, I'm doing a licensing agreement for my framework, I really might only have to ask them, well, what part of it are you talking about? Are we talking about the source code? Are we talking about the actual on-screen UI? What are we discussing? Whereas with other attorneys, they may have to explain out like, well, this is what this is and this is what that is.
Yeah.
So I think that helps as well.
Absolutely. That gives you a huge edge because you're part of the community, right? You understand the lingo. And so it, like, right away, you can help them. You've niched, and that's the power of niching, right? Versus doing, esports and all sorts of other kinds of law. Like, exactly how to speak to your ideal prospects. And then also they feel comfortable around you, and you dress the part, like you said, right? If you showed up in a 3-piece suit, they're going to be put off. But if you show up in a polo, and it clearly says on your polo, that you're a part of a law firm, then it'll make them feel at ease. Yet you're still a lawyer, which is great. That's
and
really, really smart.
The other thing that we did was, I had decided to do it. I took up a moniker, so I have the One Up Lawyer. I have an avatar. I have other things, so just to fit into the community more. It's something that the community definitely does, and I stream on Twitch as well, because there are a lot of content creators on Twitch, and showing them that you're streaming and doing the things that they're doing lets them know I really understand what challenges you're facing and what issues you're facing and things that you have to deal with, and being able to talk with them on that personal level really has helped garner long-lasting relationships, where I know if they have a friend who's looking for an attorney, or their friend's is looking, they're going to point me out first, just because he's in my stream all the time, he's done a raid with me, he's done this, he's done that. So
yeah, I would imagine that Twitch is just perfect for you.
Yeah, and it's fun. I get to schedule in my video game playing now.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hey, if you had to change one thing about your marketing, any part of your marketing, one thing that you'd like to see improved, what would that be?
I think my social media presence. I'm decent at Twitter. I'm decent at Twitch, but actually getting more content up and out there, small videos, things like that. I'd love to see myself be able to do that more often, and focus in on that. I think that will help grow the overall social media presence for both the firm and for myself as an attorney.
Yeah, it's important. I agree. And certainly brand awareness. It may not drive a lot of immediate leads, social media, but you're engaging with the community, you're building a community, you're giving them information they want to see, where they want to be at. I think it's an important long-term strategy for sure. You mentioned Twitch, you mentioned Twitter. Are those like the two well, I mean, really, I guess it's Twitter for social media. Is there how about Facebook, Instagram? Do those work for you?
Facebook works decently. I think Facebook works more, of course, for my closer friends and family, just to remind them of what I'm doing and let them know kind of what I'm doing, so that if they hear somebody else who's doing it, they'll be like, oh, okay, I know, how to be able to at least send someone your way. And thankfully, I do have some family that's on the creative side, that does YouTube, that do small YouTube shows that they're also trying to get licensed and do things like that. So being able to do that with them at least shows them that I'm working in that field. But I don't know that I've gotten, exactly. But I don't know that I've gotten many like brand new clients that just happen to come across our Facebook page or anything like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about Twitter? Is that a good source for you?
Yeah, Twitter definitely works better for me. And LinkedIn is actually a really good one. I think a lot of the indie developers or the companies, third-party companies that are looking for attorneys are on LinkedIn more often, and Twitter. Those seem to be the two best ones for that.
Cool. I would not have guessed LinkedIn for your niche. That's interesting. But now that you've explained it, that makes a lot of sense. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what are some tools that you use to manage either your pipeline or your business? Are you using any of the law specific, CRMs and case management platforms?
Yeah, we have two major ones we're using right now. I use Clio for the case management and document organization classification. That's the main one we're using for that. And then I also use Lawmatics for my intake. I've found that having those systems set up, takes some legwork on the front end, but that having them set up as much as possible helps streamline everything and allows us to get through to more clients and be able to handle more cases in an efficient manner. So I think Lawmatics was probably one of the better purchases just for intake, just because it allows you to automate everything. You don't have to remember as much. And then Clio, the document, I guess the app that they have on there is excellent. It's been an excellent app. It allows you to work from anywhere. So if I'm on my phone, if I'm on the computer, if I'm at home, if I'm at the office, I'm able to click, open up, hit save, and it'll save it to the main database. And then if my assistants need to do anything or anything like that, they just open it and they'll have the changes that I had just made. without having to download anything or save anything onto the computer. So definitely.
Do the two systems talk to one another? So like the intake
Yes.
feeds it right to Clio?
Yeah. So once we finish the intake, they send out, once they sign the engagement agreement or pay their invoice, it will automatically switch it over into Clio, create a matter, and all the notes and everything from Lawmatics will be populated in Clio. So it really is a seamless transition from one to the other, and allows us to be able to, we don't have to double check each other or triple check each other all the time and figure out like, oh, well, what did we agree that they were going to pay, and what was the payment schedule? It's like, oh, let me sign into Lawmatics. I don't have to do all that. So, and it also has a very good metric system. Allows us to check whoever we're getting clients from. Is it from this referral source? Is it from that referral source? And it has percentages and things like that. They read each other, so we can also, you can import your contacts from whatever practice management software you're using. You can import them, and then that way you can keep track of those referrals and figure out who you should be focusing on, who you should be sending thank you notes to, stuff like that. And we have a new office space that we're dealing with, and so having everything digital and on those is wonderful. So I don't have to pack up a whole office of everything. It's like, no, we just move the computers and be done.
That sounds really nice, especially as far as like reminders of when to send letters and things like that. Yeah, that's really, really powerful to be able to drop something in the mail to a client, even if you're all
definitely. Yeah, sending it over to them, little touches, or we can even do email newsletters to anyone that's already been a client or any potential client, stuff like that, just to keep people updated on what's going on in the firm, what we've been working on.
Very cool. Well, it sounds like you got a nice thing going there. Definitely appreciate your time. If someone would like to reach out to you and ask you more questions about what you're doing, or if they have a referral for you, what's a good way to get in touch with you?
So the best method is going to be email. It's Sean, SEAN, at mcnjlaw.com. Our website also has a intake form if you want to use the website, and again, mcnjlaw.com. You can also reach us at our telephone number, which is 407-274-2598, and that goes to our assistants, and they can definitely set up either a consult or just some time to talk about a question or talk about the industry, and we love to talk about it, clearly.
Very cool, Sean. Well, thanks so much. All right, everybody. If you would like to watch or listen to more podcast episodes like this featuring great managing partners with all sorts of tips and tricks about how to fill your case pipeline, you can go to arraylaw.com/podcast. And if you would like to find out more about our law firm marketing services, you can go to arraylaw.com to find out how we help law firms like yours with things like websites, SEO, social media, and online advertising. All right, Sean, once again, thanks so much.
Thank you.